What you are seeing here is not some rocky barren area from some faraway place on Earth. No, this is actually Mars. 13 years ago, NASA deployed the Curiosity rover on Mars, and then 3 years ago they sent another rover, Perseverance, to join the mission. These rovers were sent to map the planet and study its surface, and now finally they have sent back some super incredible footage that is simply mind-blowing. So what exactly are we seeing here, and what else have these rovers been up to since they touched down on the Red Planet, the first Mars exploration? Our fascination with Mars, or what we like to call the Red Planet, has been around for centuries, but it wasn't until the space age that we could get a closer look. The first successful mission to Mars was the Mariner 4, which was launched by NASA in 1964. This was a flyby mission, and it sent back the first close-up photos of Mars. This is when we first got to know that Mars has a cratered moon-like surface. It was a big achievement that ignited our thirst for more knowledge about our neighboring planet. In the years that followed, several other missions were launched. The Viking missions in the 1970s were particularly impressive. Viking 1 and Viking 2 both landed on Mars and conducted experiments to look for signs of life. Although they didn't find definitive evidence of life, they provided a wealth of information about Mars' soil, atmosphere, and weather patterns. Mars exploration has come a long way since those early missions. Each mission is built on the successes and lessons of the ones before it. The 1990s saw the Mars Pathfinder mission, which delivered the Sojourner rover. This was a small 6-wheeled rover that could move around and analyze rocks and soil. It was a huge step forward, demonstrating that we could not only land on Mars but also move around and explore its surface. The 2000s brought even more ambitious missions. The Mars Global Surveyor orbited the planet and mapped its surface in detail. The Mars Odyssey mission, which was launched in 2001, discovered large amounts of hydrogen just below the Martian surface. This was a great discovery as it indicated the presence of water ice. Each of these discoveries hinted at the possibility of life on Mars either in the past or present, and certainly suggested that humans could one day live there. But why is studying Mars so important? Why don't we go to Venus or Mercury? Well, for one, Mars is the most Earth-like planet in our solar system. It has seasons, polar ice caps, and weather patterns. Understanding Mars can help us understand more about our own planet's history and future. Other than that, Mars has the potential to be a future home for humanity. As Earth faces challenges like climate change and overpopulation, Mars can give us a possible second home for humans. But before we can think about colonizing Mars, we need to understand it better. That's where these missions come in. NASA's rover missions have been at the forefront of Mars exploration. These rovers are like robotic scientists who are given tools to study the Martian surface and environment in detail. The program began with the Sojourner rover, which was part of the Mars Pathfinder mission. It was followed by the twin rovers Spirit and Opportunity, which landed on Mars in 2004. These rovers were designed to last 90 days, but ended up exploring for years. Spirit explored the Gusev crater, while Opportunity made incredible discoveries in the Meridiani Planum region, including evidence of past water activity. With these successes, NASA decided to build its best rovers ever. They aim to push the boundaries of what we know about Mars and seek answers to new questions. So what new rovers did they create after Spirit and Opportunity? The Curiosity rover. The first next-generation rover sent to Mars by NASA was Curiosity. On November 26, 2011, NASA launched the Curiosity rover as part of the Mars Science Laboratory mission. After a 9-month journey, Curiosity landed on Mars on August 6, 2012. The landing site was Gale Crater, chosen because scientists thought it might have once had water and possibly life. That descent and landing were so tense, so stressful, that it is now called the 7 Minutes of Terror. It involved a complex sequence of events, including a sky crane maneuver which had never been tried before. Despite the risks, the landing was a success, and Curiosity sent back its first images from the Martian surface. This marked the beginning of a new era in Mars exploration. Curiosity has all kinds of gadgets to help with its exploration. It is about the size of a car, measuring 10 feet long, 9 feet wide, and 7 feet tall, and weighs nearly 2,000 pounds. One of its amazing features is the Chemistricammer tool that uses a laser to zap rocks and soil, turning them into gas so it can study their makeup. You can also think of it as a laser gun that can analyze what things are made of from a distance. Another incredible tool is the sample analysis at Mars' SAMA tiny lab that can analyze the chemical makeup of samples, including checking for organic compounds, which are super important for finding out if there was ever life on Mars. Curiosity is powered by a special power source called a radioisotope thermoelectric generator (RTG). This power source converts heat from the decay of plutonium-238 into electricity, meaning Curiosity can keep going day and night through all seasons without running out of juice. Now, creating all these gadgets for Curiosity was no cheap task. The whole Mars Science Laboratory mission, including Curiosity, cost about $2.5 billion. That's a lot of money, but the mission has given us tons of amazing info about Mars, making it worth every penny. But why did they name it Curiosity? Naming a rover is a big deal for NASA, and they love to get kids involved. For Curiosity, they held an essay contest for students all over the US in 2009. The kids had to come up with a name and write about why they chose it. A 6th grader from Kansas named Clara Ma won the contest. She suggested the name Curiosity in her essay. Clara wrote, "Curiosity is an everlasting flame that burns in everyone's mind. It makes me get out of bed in the morning and wonder what surprises life will throw at me that day. Curiosity is such a powerful force. Without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. Curiosity is the passion that drives us through our everyday lives. We have become explorers and scientists with our need to ask questions and to wonder." NASA loved how she captured the spirit of exploration, so they chose her name for the rover. It's a great way to remind everyone that exploration and discovery are for all of us. So with all that money and high-tech gear, what has Curiosity found on Mars? Curiosity's mission on Mars has been nothing short of spectacular. It has made a series of discoveries that have improved our understanding of the red planet. Did you know Curiosity detected organic compounds on Mars? Curiosity took some rock samples from Gale Crater and found out that these rocks had organic compounds. These organic molecules, which contain carbon, could potentially be used as building blocks and food for life. But why was this discovery so meaningful? Well, the presence of organic compounds on Mars tells us that the planet might have once supported life, even if it never actually did. Scientists found that the isotopes in carbon dioxide and methane could be consistent with ancient biological activity, but they could also result from non-life processes like interactions between sunlight and carbon dioxide in Mars' atmosphere. This discovery motivates ongoing and future studies, not just with Curiosity, but with other missions looking for signs of life beyond Earth. Curiosity also detected fluctuations in the amount of methane in the near-surface atmosphere of Mars. On Earth, most methane in the atmosphere comes from biological processes, but we don't know if that's the case on Mars. While Curiosity cannot tell us if the methane it found is from biological sources, it did give us a little proof that some biological process might be occurring on Mars. Other than all this, Curiosity's mission was to determine both the formation and exposure age of a rock on Mars. The rocks around Gale Crater formed about 4 billion years ago and then were moved to Yellowknife Bay, where they became sedimentary rocks about 70 million years ago. Weathering and erosion exposed these rocks to surface radiation. This information helps scientists understand Mars erosion rates and consider how radiation might affect organic compounds in the rocks, which could influence the identification of potential biosignatures. Curiosity also gave us insights into Mars' watery past. Water is important for life, and the rocks in Gale Crater show a rich history of water. For example, Curiosity has found a mineral called gypsum, which only forms in watery environments. This indicates that there was water on Mars. An age-dating experiment found a jarosite that was much younger than expected, suggesting that liquid water might have remained below the surface even as the planet was drying out. This could mean that Mars had habitable conditions for a longer period than previously thought. Other than this, Curiosity has shown us how Mars lost its atmosphere and transformed from a warm, wet planet to the cold, dry one we see today. By measuring the ratio of deuterium to hydrogen in water samples, Curiosity provided evidence of hydrogen escape and water loss over time. This helped scientists understand the planet's long-term climate changes. After this, Curiosity also detected biologically useful nitrogen on Mars, and what it found was so surprising. You see, on Earth nitrogen is essential for life, but it needs to be in a fixed form to be usable. Curiosity found fixed nitrogen on Mars, showing us another building block of life. 13 years after its landing, Curiosity is still going strong on Mars, collecting and analyzing data and continuing to make important discoveries. Scientists expect Curiosity to keep sending back valuable data for years to come, and its mission might be extended even further if it remains functional.